Ever think about, like, how healing actually works? I mean, is it something you have to train for, like, years and years?
Mm.
Or is it something that some people are just, born with?
It's a really good question, and it's something that, honestly, we could spend hours talking about. Luckily for both of us, though, we've got Ra to help us sort through it all.
That's right. We're going deep on healing in this deep dive. Specifically, we're looking at two paths to healing. And we're drawing directly from the Law of One material for this, talking about what Ra had to say on the topic.
You know, for folks who want to get right to the point, which I know a lot of our listeners do, we've zeroed in on some very specific Law of One sessions, the ones where Ra really gets into the nitty-gritty of healing.
Perfect. So what's our mission here today? Where are we going with all of this?
Our mission is to understand, as best as we can, how Ra differentiates between two types of healers.
Oh, this should be good. Two types of healers, huh?
Yep. Ra describes one type as the healer who consciously develops their abilities. So someone who trains, studies, puts in the work. The other type, they're the ones who just seem to have this natural intuitive connection to healing energy.
That's super interesting. Like one is deliberate and the other is what, more spontaneous or something?
Exactly. And we'll be looking at the kind of energetic implications that come with each of these different paths to healing.
Love it. Okay, so to kick us off, I want to quote a line from Ra. This is from session 4.1 noon. And I think it sets the stage beautifully for what we're going to be digging into today. Ra says, two kinds there are who can heal.
Ah, yes. Classic Ra. Right. So concise, so much packed into just a few words.
Right, so let's break this down. What are these two kinds of healers that Ra is talking about?
Well, Ra goes on to explain in that same session, session 4.19, two kinds there are who can heal. One, those such as yourself who, having the innate distortion towards knowledge giving of the law of one, can heal but do not. And two, those who, having the same knowledge but showing no significant distortions toward the law of one in mind, body, or spirit, yet, and nevertheless, have opened a channel to the same ability.
Wow, okay. So much to unpack there. Let's start with the first type of healer Ra describes. It sounds like they have this strong draw towards the law of one, right? Like a deep understanding and a real passion for sharing it. And Ra specifically says they can heal, but they choose not to. At least not in this context, right?
Exactly. There's a distinction there. It's not that they can't heal, but for whatever reason, they aren't actively healing at this point in time. It's almost like they're holding back, maybe for reasons we'll explore later.
Okay, interesting. Now, what about the second type of healer? What's going on with them?
Okay, so this is where it gets really fascinating. Ra describes them as having the same knowledge of the law of one, but they're not as outwardly focused on it. They're not like actively teaching or preaching it. Instead, they just live it. They embody the principles of the law of one love, service, unity in every aspect of their lives. And this deep internal harmony, this alignment, is what opens them up as a channel for healing.
So there's a huge difference in how they approach or embody healing, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. The first type, you could say they have a more intellectual or conscious relationship with the law of one. They understand it, they can explain it, they might even be able to teach it, but they haven't necessarily integrated it fully into their being. They haven't made it, part of their core self.
I see. And the second type, they're just living it, right? Like, it's not just in their heads, it's in their hearts too.
Precisely. And it's that living alignment with the law of one that seems to act as this conduit for healing energy to flow through them.
That makes sense. So to simplify, we could categorize these two types as what, the trained healers and the intuitively open healers.
I think those are pretty good terms for it. The trained healers, they consciously seek to understand and align with the law of one. They put in the work, the effort, the study. The intuitively open healers, they just sort of radiate that healing energy naturally, almost like it's second nature to them.
Right, so the trained healers are making a deliberate, conscious effort to connect with this spiritual understanding. But the intuitively open healers, they might not even be aware of the law of one on a conscious level, right?
Right.
Yet they're still tapping into this incredible healing power. It's like they're instinctively tuned into what Ra calls intelligent infinity.
Right. So glad you brought up intelligent infinity. It's such a key concept here.
It is. Can you kind of break down what intelligent infinity means in this context? Because I think it's easy to get kind of tripped up by all the terminology sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. It can feel like you're learning a whole new language with Ra sometimes. But intelligent infinity really just refers to this fundamental conscious energy that pervades the universe. It's the source of all creation. It's where all of this healing potential comes from, according to the law of one. And the intuitively open healer, they just seem to have this direct, almost unconscious connection to that source.
Wow, that's amazing. It's like they're just plugged in, even if they don't realize it.
Right. Pretty incredible. And it's not to say that they're better at healing than the trained healers, but there are some important things to consider with this type of healer, some energetic considerations, we could say.
Okay, this is what I was wondering about.
Yeah.
What happens when someone has this powerful healing ability, but their life isn't aligned with it?
Mm.
Like, what if their actions don't match up with all that love and service that's at the heart of the law of one?
You're hitting on a really crucial point here, and it's something that Ra addresses specifically. They say, and I'm quoting here, those whose life does not equal their work may find some difficulty in absorbing the energy of intelligent infinity, and perhaps even find it necessary to cease the healing activity.
Oh, wow. That's pretty intense. So they're saying there could be some real consequences for an intuitively open healer if their personal life is out of whack, so to speak.
That's right. Because if they're not living in alignment with those principles of love and service, it can be really hard for them to handle all that pure, potent energy coming from intelligent affinity.
That actually makes sense. Like if you're trying to channel this incredibly high frequency energy, but your own internal wiring is kind of messy or chaotic, it could be overwhelming.
Right. It's like trying to force a massive amount of electricity through a tiny little wire. It's not going to end well. And the thing is, for the intuitively open healer, this disconnect can lead to some serious problems. They might start to feel drained all the time. Their own energy reserves could get depleted. And in some cases, Ross says, they might even have to stop doing any healing work at all.
It's like a safety mechanism, right? Like their own system shutting down to protect itself.
Exactly. And that's a real shame because they have this amazing gift, this ability to help others, but they're not able to use it because their own life isn't aligned with it.
Yeah, it's a powerful reminder that we have to walk the walk, not just talk the talk. Now, what about the trained healers, the ones who are actively trying to understand and live the law of one? What kind of energetic effects does that have for them?
So for the trained healers, the ones putting in that conscious effort to embody the law of one, Ra actually paints a pretty different picture.
Really? How so?
Well, they say that trained healers are able to, and I'm quoting again, comfortably maintain the distortion towards service. They're able to do the work to help others without getting burnt out or overwhelmed.
That's interesting. So it's not that the trained healers are any better at healing, but they have more staying power, more stability in their service.
Precisely. Because they've done the work to align their lives with those principles of the law of one, they've built up this sort of energetic foundation. And that foundation, that alignment, is what allows them to channel healing energy consistently and safely without putting themselves at risk.
So it's like they're protecting their own energy while also making sure they can continue to help others.
You got it. And this difference between the two types of healers, the trained and the intuitive, it's kind of like imagine trying to tune into a radio station that's broadcasting healing energy.
Okay, I'm picturing it. Go on.
So the intuitively open healer, they're like someone who accidentally stumbles onto that frequency.
Like they're flipping through the channels and suddenly they hear something amazing.
Exactly. And they might be able to listen to that station to receive and transmit that healing energy for a little while. But because they haven't really calibrated their radio, because their internal alignment isn't quite there yet, they're more likely to drift away from that frequency. The signal might fade in and out. They might lose the connection altogether.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like relying on luck to get a clear signal. Now, what about the trained healer? What does their radio look like?
The trained healer, they're like the master radio builder. They've studied how it all works. They've carefully constructed their own receiver piece by piece. They know exactly which knobs to turn, which dials to adjust to find that healing frequency and lock onto it.
And they know how to keep it tuned in, right?
Exactly. They've got this deep understanding of how to maintain that connection, to keep that signal strong and clear.
So while the intuitive healer might have these moments of incredible healing power, they're a bit more unpredictable. And the trained healer, they offer this consistent, reliable channel for healing energy to flow through.
That's a great summary. And it really highlights how important it is for healers to pay attention to their own energetic well-being.
For sure, because ultimately it's about long-term service, right? It's not about burning out in a blaze of glory. It's about being able to show up and help others again and again over time.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And it's important to remember that Ra sees healing as, and I'm quoting again, but one distortion of the law of one.
Oh, I love that quote. So it's not just about healing itself. It's about understanding and living the law of one in all aspects of our lives. That's the real journey.
Absolutely. And it brings us to the whole idea of training. because Ra didn't just talk about these two types of healers. They also gave some really specific guidance on how to train to become a healer.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And it wasn't just about reading books or studying theory. There was an actual practical initiation process.
Right. Ra outlines this three-part initiation for anyone who wants to develop their healing abilities. And each part focuses on a different aspect of ourselves: the mind, the body, and the spirit.
That's so fascinating. Let's start with the mind. What did Ross say about that?
Well, they said something that's really stuck with me. The mind must be known to itself. If the mind knows itself, then the most important aspect of healing has occurred.
The mind must be known to itself. It's pretty deep. What does that even mean in the context of healing?
It means really understanding how your own mind works. It means being aware of your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs. It means being honest with yourself about your strengths and your weaknesses. It means cultivating inner balance and being able to quiet the mind. Because, as Ross says, the mind has to be open, and the key to that opening is silence. A healer who knows their own mind is going to be much better equipped to help others heal.
It's like if you're all tangled up in your own thoughts and emotions, how are you supposed to hold space for someone else's healing journey?
Exactly. It's about creating that inner clarity and peace so that you can be a clear channel for healing energy. Now, the second part of the training focuses on the body.
Okay, the body. What's the deal with that?
Roar emphasized that understanding the body's energy flow is absolutely crucial for healing. And they're talking about both the physical energy, like our circulation and nervous system, but also the more subtle energy that flows through us. That's something really beautiful about this. Something like all natural functions of the body can be transmuted to what you may call sacramental.
Whoa, okay. So we're not just talking about anatomy and physiology here. It's about seeing the body as sacred, as a vehicle for healing.
That's it. And the trained healer learns to harmonize their physical self with their spiritual intentions. They start to see their body as an essential part of the healing process, not just a separate entity.
That's so cool. So we've got the mind and the body. What about the spirit? What does that part of the training entail?
This is where it all comes together, really.
Right.
Ra describes the function of the spirit as to integrate the upreaching yearning of the mind-body energy with the downpouring and streaming of infinite intelligence.
Okay, break that down for me.
Sure. It basically means learning how to connect our deepest desires, our highest aspirations, with the boundless wisdom and energy of the universe. It's about that beautiful harmony between our humanness and our divinity.
And this is what allows us to access that intelligent infinity we talked about earlier, right?
Exactly. That integration of mind, body, and spirit is what opens the door to that limitless healing potential.
This three-part training that Rod describes, it's all about creating this clear, open channel for intelligent infinity to flow through. And it reminds me of another quote from Ra where they say, the healer acts as energizer or catalyst for this completely individual process.
Yes, such a key point. The healer doesn't actually do the healing. They're not forcing anything to happen. They're simply creating the conditions for the other person's own self-healing abilities to kick in.
It's so empowering, right?
Yeah.
Because it means that everyone has that potential within them, and the healer's just helping to unlock it.
Couldn't agree more.
I'm definitely feeling like we need to dedicate a whole other deep dive to exploring each of these disciplines, mind, body, and spirit, in more detail.
Agreed. There's so much more we could uncover there.
So just to recap what we've covered today, Rad talked about two distinct paths to healing. The intuitively open path, which can be powerful but also unpredictable and potentially draining, and the trained path, which offers more stability and long-term sustainability in service. And ultimately, both paths emphasize that the healer isn't the one doing the healing, they're simply a facilitator, a catalyst.
A beautiful summary. And I think it's really important to emphasize that both paths have their own strengths and challenges. Neither one is inherently better than the other. It's about finding the path that resonates most deeply with you.
Exactly. It's about honoring your own unique journey. And as we wrap things up, I want to share one final quote from Ra that I think is incredibly powerful and really relevant to what we've been talking about. This is from session 66.9, and it goes like this. The discipline of the personality, when faced with healing, is the opening of the self to the universe. That energy is the healer.
Wow, that's beautiful. And it really gets to the heart of it all, doesn't it? Healing is about opening ourselves up, about connecting with something larger than ourselves.
Yes. It's about recognizing that the true source of healing lies within that connection, within that universal energy that flows through all of us.
And that's something for all of us to contemplate, whether we consider ourselves healers or not.
Absolutely. So as we end this deep dive, I want to encourage everyone listening to really think about Which of these paths to healing resonates most deeply with you? What does it mean for your understanding of healing? What does it mean for your own potential to serve others? And most importantly, how can you cultivate that openness, that connection to the universe in your everyday life?
Wonderful questions, and
Mhm.
thank you for guiding us through this incredible exploration.
It's been my pleasure, and thanks to everyone for joining us on this deep dive into the mysteries of healing.